My name is Keaton, and this is when visiting a Chinese home. Imagine you're hanging out with some of your friends. Now you get up to get a drink of water, and you stub your toe and fall flat on your face. Now your friends look at you, and they say, "Are you okay? Are you hurt? Can you get up?" And you just throw them that. Now, in American culture, that means that you're okay, that you're fine, that you're not injured. However, in other cultures, it could mean something totally different. Courtney Subramanian explains that in France, it means that they're worthless. And in Venezuela and Brazil, it symbolizes the butt. Now that could be really awkward, especially around your friends. And in Turkey, it's an insult to gay people. Now if you have a gay friend, he might just get angry at you. Nobody wants that. In this speech, I will go through the meeting process that one might go through when visiting a traditional Chinese household. This information would be very useful for anyone who is planning to visit China, whether it be for a study abroad or a pleasure visit. I have done a lot of research on this topic and have come up with some tips so that one can feel comfortable when visiting this culture. This speech will cover how one would introduce themselves, how one would act while in the home, and lastly, how one would say goodbye. Introductions are very important as people want to make a good first impression, as the first impression is the basis of how anybody sees you. Introductions can be very similar between certain cultures, and in this case, it is much the same. For a business situation, a handshake and greeting is enough. According to the Canadian Trade Commissioner Service, handshaking isn't about strength, but about holding longer if the person is pleased. Now, a Chinese person will hold your hand longer if they are very pleased to meet you, and shorter if they aren't, rather than grabbing your hand in a really strong handshake. The Chinese have a high regard for rankings and age, so make sure that you greet the higher ranking people or the elders first. An informal introduction is more complicated. Lauren Mack, a China news expert, says that learning a little Chinese, like "Hello, how are you? My name is," helps a lot. It shows that you have so much respect for them that you actually went out of your way to learn a little bit of their language. Generally, people say hello and ask if you have eaten, according to Elegant Woman. They care very much if you have eaten the last meal or not. And if you haven't, then they may just invite you into their home. Much like in business, respect your elders and your senior-ranking people. Elders should never be called by their name, but rather by their age. So, say a child were to come up to a middle-aged woman. He would call them aunt, rather than by their name. After meeting your host, you get into the house. This is the most important of the confrontations you'll have, in my own opinion, as you can really disrespect your host if you do something wrong. When entering a home for a meal, Lauren Mack explains that taking off your shoes when you walk into the household isn't necessarily a need. It is only a need if your host does it himself. Basically, you just need to follow what the host does and make sure that you do everything he does. So, if he comes out not wearing shoes, you best take off your shoes. Also, you will be given tea. Now, you don't have to drink the tea, but you cannot refuse the tea as it is very disrespectful. The wife or mother will most likely be the cook and, once again, follow the host's leads and eat when they do. Also, you can follow what they eat, how they eat it, and how they scoop the food onto their plate or tray. Do not just eat and leave. Be sure that you stay at least a half hour to an hour, maybe even more, chatting with the family and getting to know them. Finally, you get to the conclusion of things. Leaving, according to Gavin Van Hinsberg, is a big deal to hosts. He explains that it is not seen as a waste of time, but a duty of the host. He says that hosts can go as far as walking somebody all the way to a train station and then waiting for their train to get there and for the train to leave before heading back home. Now, it shows respect to their guests, and they'll do it almost every time. The information given here should help you better understand the customs of China and therefore ready you for traveling there, whether for business or for pleasure, from introducing yourself to eating dinner and finally saying goodbye. I hope this has been helpful, and remember to have fun when visiting another country.